Señora, tiene fuego. Se me quedó mirando como perro viejo.
Trying to get this. It's not. I'm just trying to. I'm waiting. Hang on. Stand by. Yeah. Stand by. We're just trying to get this audio hooked up here.
Let me know.
Yeah, no joke.
Oh, now this motherfucker want to stop texting me and shit. All right, anyway, I'm just going to keep going. I was talking, in case you guys didn't hear, I was talking to the UK listeners. I was asking them why they disrespect the letter T when it's in the middle of the word. I mean, they invented the language. And I would understand if you guys spelled it differently. Jimmy, I don't know what that means. All right, I'm just going to keep going. I could understand if the UK people spelled, if you guys spelled it differently. But you guys have the T's right there. Yes, that's better. No T sound. And I don't get it. But I'm going to start talking like, I'm going to start using your slang with an American accent. I hope you don't mind. So I want to thank everyone who's gotten the vax shot. I want to thank you guys for going first. And seriously, no disrespect to you. I got a lot of family and friends who have been vaccinated because of their jobs or whatever. And I know it's very difficult Oh man, see, now somebody else texted me, told me to retell the jokes. No, I'm just gonna keep going. I'll get you guys on the next one. Thanks a lot for that, Chad. Okay, I gotta stop looking at my phone, but that's where my notes are. So, I want to thank everybody for getting the vaccine who's done it, because you guys, are doing the guinea pig thing, and I appreciate that. I just don't trust it. I'll get it eventually. I just need them to kind of iron some stuff out, right? I might end up being Will Smith in I Am Legend, while the rest of y'all gray and bald-headed. It can only come out at night, But, yeah, I'm in no hurry to get it. Just simply because I don't, it's not, some anti-government shit. It is amazing to me that the government, for the first time in history, wants to save everyone. But I'm more leery of the pharmaceutical companies who are behind these things, Like, we see those commercials all the time from law offices saying, if you have taken any of these drugs. And what turned me off about this was, before they even rolled it out, the first thing they went and did was got legal immunity. So, and that turned me off. I'm like, well, no. Would you go to a restaurant and eat if they said, hey, if you choke and die, that's just on you? You're like, no, I'm not doing it. Why would I eat there? And how is it that they came with a vaccine so quick, a one-size-fits-all? That's the thing. So before I take it, this is what I'm going to need. I'm going to need any brothers who are tall and light-skinned with the same blood type as me. I want to know what your results are, and see how it works out. Biden, Uncle Joe, says that they are going to go door to door now with this. They're going to knock on doors. And I'm going to tell you right now, okay, government, if you're listening, and I know you are, don't knock on my door. Because first of all, I'm not going to answer. There's no obligation for me to answer the door. Second of all, you're going to be trick-or-treating in July. I have nothing for you, right? I'm just going to treat you like the Mormons when they knock on my door. I'll just tell you that I'm vaccinated. How you going to prove it? I'll be like, yeah, I already did it. Of course, this show is probably going to come back and screw me, but I'm just not ready yet. Okay, let me see what happens, because listen, pharmaceutical companies come out with wonder drugs all the time. They come out all the time, and they work for the most part. People are like, wow, this is a wonder drug. And then, sometimes 5 years later, sometimes 50 years later, it comes back, oh, we didn't know this is creating people's eyeballs to fall out. And I'm going to give you some examples. Okay, do you guys remember this?
If you have arthritis pain, there's reason to celebrate. It's Celebrex.
Celebrate, celebrate, come on and celebrate.
You guys remember that? Celebrex. I remember those commercials, right? And it was for arthritis, people who had arthritis pain. Now, this was released in 1998, okay? And then it was recalled in 2005 because they found out that it caused heart attacks. Okay, and who were the masterminds behind this drug? Monsanto. Oh, and Pfizer pulled it off, right? Now they paid out the lawsuits for that, right? How about this? You guys remember this?
Family Taco Night is a heartburn night you can plan for. But surprise pizza at the office means heartburn you didn't expect. Zantac works when you need it. It relieves or prevents heartburn in as little as 30 minutes and lasts up to 12 hours.
Now, I bet most of you didn't even realize that Zantac had been taken off the market. This has been around forever. It was first released in 1983. 40 years. This has been on the market for 40 years, and it wasn't until 2018 that it was banned because they discovered it caused cancer. All right? And who was the manufacturer of Zantac? Pfizer. Right? So, for all of you people, because let me tell you what they're trying to do right now. Okay, what they're trying to do, and when I say they, I'm talking about the powers that be, by way of the mainstream media, which is why it's very important that you support radio stations like this one, Aftermath.fm. Free thought, free expression, alternative views from the mainstream media. You're not going to agree with everything, but at least you're going to think differently. Here's what they're trying to do. They're trying to orchestrate an us versus them scenario amongst citizens. right? What the and mark my words, what they're going to do is they're going to start punishing everyone for the what they call non-vaxxers. They're going to start punishing them. Oh, okay, well, you know, remember teachers used to do that when you would like one kid wouldn't stop talking, so she would punish the whole class and everybody would get mad at that kid. That's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to say, well, I guess nobody can fly on airplanes now because these people don't want to get vaccinated. And then that's going to cause fighting in the streets. You're going to see a bunch of viral videos of people fighting and beating each other up. Don't fall for it, people. Right? Let's be pro-choice when it comes to this. Because if you're vaccinated, then you have nothing to worry about, right? Right? Even though, if you pay close attention, even to the mainstream media, there's tons of people that have been vaccinated that are still being affected by COVID. Now, whether they die or not, you know, I don't know, because they're probably not going to report that in the news. But be careful, because that's what they're going to do. They're going to turn everybody against everybody else, right? And try to force into. You got to ask yourself this: when has the government went this hard on trying to save the world? When have they ever done this? They've never done this with anything else. You've never seen them going door to door, knocking on asthma sufferers, and oh, here's a pump. You know, take the pump. You have to have the pump. No, they've never done that before. Well, why is this any different? You know, now I have had COVID. I did suffer from COVID, and it is a very strange and very real virus. But, you know, the human body is such a magnificent machine that when a foreign agent comes in, your immune system acts as a police force to go do battle with this new virus. And not only that, once they conquer it, which it usually does if you're young and you don't have any pre-existing conditions, it builds a task force for the next time the virus shows up. So I'm pretty sure if I catch COVID again, my task force is already ready to go because it's been exposed to it. Why do I need to put some experimental, and it is experimental, thing in my body? And again, I'm not knocking anybody who's got it. I think that you should. If it makes you feel safer, you should absolutely get that. But don't join this civil war that they're trying to create between us. It's not cool. Another one. Here's another one. You guys remember this? Remember Fen-Phens? Fen-Phen. Like, when I was a kid, that was like, other kids were doing it because it was like speed, like woke you up. But it was a pill that was used for weight loss. A lot of women were using this because it was basically speed, right? It cut fat. However, and we're talking about since the 1970s, this has been on the market. And it wasn't until 1997 when they discovered that it caused heart disease. Now, the lawsuits, the collective lawsuits, it was like 50,000 lawsuits. They paid out estimated like $14 billion to people and their families who had been affected by this. And, you know, so what I'm saying is these pharmaceutical companies, they come up with wonder drugs all the time that work for some time. And it isn't until later down the road that we discover, or they discover, that there's adverse effects to it. And I'm not a virologist. I'm not I don't claim to know everything. All I know is that I'm fine. I know about me, right? And I should have a choice of whether I want it or not, you know? So just don't fall for it. And more power to you if you feel like you should get it. I'm not knocking you for that. But, you know, I saw, the reason I'm talking about this is I saw a post on my timeline. This young woman had posted, yeah, I got the vaccine and the rest of y'all are idiots. I was like, what kind of shit is that? And I was going to comment, and I said, no, I'm not going to do that because that's her right to feel that way. It's a dangerous way to feel, but it's her right to feel that way. And, you know, that's the type of polarity that we don't need, you know. If you look at the mainstream media, they have been socially engineering people in America and across the world even to draw lines between each other and fight. We just saw it with race for the last couple of years. It's all been about race. Now that people are catching on to that and realizing that that's bullshit, now they're going to do this, the vaccinated and the unvaccinated. And they're going to come door to door. Now, here's what's crazy. Here's what's really crazy is you know damn well if Donald Trump, when he was president, if he had proposed this very thing, going door to door, everyone who's championing this right now, they would have been like, oh, that's some Hitler shit. That's Hitler. It's Hitler. Because that's what this is. This is some Hitler shit. Now they're talking about vax passports and all this stuff. That's not cool, man. Like, my medical history is none of your business. It's none of anybody's business, you know, but so just don't fall for it. Now, you guys remember right after the pandemic, right? And I peeped to this, like right after the pandemic started in March of 2020, right? And by October, that was the deadline. Right at March, they came with the census. And you remember how much pressure they were putting on everybody to make sure you fill out the census, make sure you fill out the census. And they hung the stimulus payments over people's heads. If you do not fill out the census, you cannot get your stimulus payment. So everybody filled it out. Now, even back then, I peeped it. I said, okay, they're trying to figure out who's who and where they are, right? And I guarantee that right now what they're doing is they're comparing their vaccinated sheets to that census. And that's how they're going to know which doors to knock on. Don't fall for it, people. Do not fall for it. Like I said, I've had it. So I've had the COVID. I've had it. You know, I've had friends and family who have had it, and everybody turned out okay. You know, and so yeah, don't fall for it. But anyway, the other day you know what that means? That means I have to say something controversial. Now, this is going to ruffle some feathers. But again, this is the Haterati Radio Show. It's splendidly offensive. Okay? But I just want you to hear me out. You ready? I do not think that gay men should be allowed in the military. Okay, hold on. See, I told you, just hear me out. Hear me out. Okay? It's not because they're gay. Okay? I got tons of friends who are gay, which is exactly what someone would say when it comes to this, right? It's not because they're gay. It's because they're fearless. Gay men are fearless, right? Have you ever seen a gay dude fight? They'll fight anybody, and they usually win. Like a gay dude will whoop your ass. So if there's any gay dudes listening, listen, I do not want to fight you, okay? But hear me out, all right? This is a true story. I saw a gay dude get in a fight with another dude. The gay dude was beating the other dude's ass. Okay, at some point, the other dude pulls out a gun and points it at the gay dude's face. Now, under normal circumstances, most of us would just put our hands up and say, okay, man, you got it. All right, no more trouble. And they would just walk away. Not this gay dude. He was like, what you gonna do with that? Shoot me then, bitch. I was like, whoa, this dude is fearless. So, and I've seen it on more than one occasion, this type of fearlessness they have, right? So I'm thinking, what about a soldier in a like a terrorist situation? You know, like somebody comes, you know, the war is different now. People like blow themselves up to blow a whole bunch of people up. So imagine a gay private coming in, you know, face to face with the suicide bomber. All right, he opens his jacket, move, or I will blow us all up. Right? Now, most of us would be like, please, sir, please don't do that. Come on, we could talk about this. Not the gay dude. He's like, what you gonna do with that, bitch? Blow us all up then. I don't give a fuck. You know, so that's the only reason why. So please forgive me for that. Nobody beat me up. I'm just letting you know. All right, so we're about to have a break here. I'm going to have a break real quick, and I will be right back. I hope you guys are enjoying this. I'm very sorry about the beginning of the show. Again, this is the Haterati Radio Show live for the first time from Las Vegas, and we are on the Aftermath.fm platform. Now, let me tell you guys about this platform really quick. This platform was built from the ground up by a good friend of mine, and as you guys know, a lot of alternative talk show hosts and radio show hosts have been getting banned for not parroting the mainstream media and the mainstream narrative. They've been getting kicked off of Facebook. They've been getting kicked off of YouTube. Like, they have no voice, right? This is some real Hitler type shit. Like, no, if we do not agree with you, you can't even say it, right? So this platform was created so that people with those voices, as long as they're not, too far out, right? They have a place where they don't have to worry about that. right? We don't have to worry about being silenced, getting a community guideline strike, right? And this is where we do that. So there's some great shows on here 24 hours a day, and it's free to listen. You can download the app. There's an Aftermath app, or you can just always log into the website right here and listen 24 hours a day. There's always something. You can see a schedule wherever you're listening. You can see what's coming up, every day of the week, 7 days a week, 24/7. There's always something interesting on here. Now, if you would like more, we do have a back end here. We have what's called aftermath.media. So if you have to work and there's a certain show that you wanted to listen to and you missed it, we have the archives at aftermath.media. And right now there's a sale for the month of July. Okay, you can get a full year for $79. And then we have a family plan, family and friends plan, which I believe is $139. I'm sorry, I don't have it in front of me. But for that, you get like yourself and 3 friends and family members who all have access to it. But there's literally thousands of hours of video content and audio content from the hosts that you hear on Aftermath and more. So you guys go to aftermath.media and inquire about that. That's how you get more of us. There's also a social media aspect back there where you can connect with other listeners as well as reach out to the hosts directly. So check it out. If you have any questions, you can email me at hateraziradio@gmail.com. I'm going to take a break. When I come back, I got some emails to address and a few more things to talk about. Stick around.
Drop cells, listen in the bars, but we stand at them. What's your sound opinion? So it's sparking at them. And fathom, dad cooking, breakfast baking, no sugar. Jam preaching, wiping kids' boomers. Fan protector, respected, house full of rules. It's the feeling that I really wish I had sooner. Baby's mama and mama, that's a different tune. They hit the gym, trap music, them with them. I'm wrong for dropping gems, cause it's a different message. I see no action, finally getting message. That a life is built on how to see her dad is sketched it. Moms will teach you how to use a magnum, not the weapon. This just a start to the drugs. Alright, for real, this just a first bag. At least used to be shows, until I figured out how answers were on the news. Conspiracies were cool, until they were dropping clues. Until you skip pretend, peep the mirror, now it's you. Why you brush your teeth, fluoride, what you consume? Vagina man addicted, see a chick, drop his dick in. We slaves the women, from trip when she wanna be independent. They get a sex, you clean the kitchen. Respect is missing, my feelings distant. That's not an act of kindness, it's an act of blindness. That ain't gold, never touch the clip. That fuck lightest, I ain't living. I take my index, put my middle, close your eyelids. Simple, bracelets, my people saying kings and queens way too much. Validation, but lack to spread the education. Silence is violence, my time is elevating. Black stories from Hulu, black sections and Target. Think it's our recognition, modern segregation. Corporations keep your subconscious bias. From King Shabazz to Shaka, who opened up chakras. That's got my face red like vision. I don't got the darkest pigment, but I use logic if and when I say the word nigga. It ain't cops, killer us, it's us. Sing along like songs of home. Bus from the floor to the media. It's cash for shit. And I was LeBron and Cole will go and sponsor the shit. Yeah, I just tell you why, but not solution of the state. Rap about the new things as they know their state. To the matrix with an overstatement. Crypto got me rich beyond statements. Basement placements. Hollywood replacement basic. You wanna shape my great. Cut confident, make blankets. And send it back to you. We know you wait.
I looked up at the stars and I wonder what they are. There's probably a lie like the rest. I've been took the red pill, but looking at the blue pill. Fake steak tastes the best. Looking for those packets. those pockets, the ones that think like me. Think like me. I'm looking for those pockets. Those pockets. Where we can all be free. All be free. Our minds are trapped in cages on the border of accepting disorder. We stepping over quarters to pick up pennies. We warriors running a rap game, selling the deals for ass cheeks, sucking your souls empty. Literally, Diddy. White people with BLM stickers on the back of their cars, being penance for sins, and they don't know what they are. Cause they don't exist if you have love in your heart. Like they don't want you to hear it. They just want to control your minds with mockingbirds and paper clips. I'll be a martyr. I'll go harder than the Clintons in the pizza parlor. Ugh. I come out swinging like a urinal with no dividers. You come back with verses and admit that you were the writer. These puppets don't just exist in governments, but more so in entertainment. Cause they can show you exactly what they were doing and you won't believe it. Everyone's got myopia and they can't see past what they saw as utopia. If you disagree with something, then it's something phobia. Singers dropping ass on TV for your kids like Sokovia. My own soul's in conflict with itself, cause I was raised on the square compass. Power and wealth. I looked at the dark arts as it was a way to achieve what I wanted between us. But I realized it was like Lucy holding a football, leave you with peanuts. I used to want them to call me a genius, but now I'd rather connect with people than exploiting their weakness. Cause I'm tired of talking to demons, for real. I look up at the stars and I wonder what they are. There's probably a lot like the rest.
That is Van Tesla with Pockets.
Fake steak taste the best. Looking for those pockets. Those pockets. The ones that think like me. Think like me. Looking for those pockets. Those pockets. I'll be free.
Once again, that is Pockets by Van Tesla. Go check them out. Go to Spotify, Apple Music, I believe. Wherever you can buy music, check them out, man. They're very conscious, man. It's rare to hear quality music where someone's talking about more than just bitches and shooting and killing. Speaking of which, did you know that 200 rappers were killed in 2020? 200! 200 rappers. I'm not laughing at it. I'm just saying 200 rappers were murdered in 2020. And it was neither one of the C's. It wasn't COVID, and it wasn't the cops. This is just rappers killing other rappers, gangs killing other gangs' rappers. That's insane. Like, why would anybody want to be a rapper nowadays? Like, if I was an aspiring rapper right now, I would just get a banjo and say, fuck it, I'm doing folk. A shout out to Van Tesla for bringing something refreshing to a dying genre, because it really is. I don't care what anybody says. And listen, I'm a hip hop cat. I've been on hip hop since it was invented. Okay, but now it's gone too far. You know, maybe it's because I'm old. I don't know. Here's the problem. And I talked about this. I was on Into the Microcosm with my man Jimmy Jean the other night. That's another show here on Aftermath.fm. If you stick around long enough, you'll hear him tonight after Clyde Lewis. Sorry about that. My ringer's off. I don't even know why that happened. But anyway, yeah, I was on there with Jimmy Jean, and we were talking about the music. We're talking about hip hop and how it became so toxic, right? Because it wasn't always like that. Now, as most of you know, black people are not a monolith. And when it comes to hip hop represents black American males, okay? Now, if you know enough black American males, you know that we come in all different shapes, sizes, and flavors. You got your nerdy black dudes, you got your intellectual black dudes, you got your militant black dudes, and you got your gangbanger thug black dudes. We're all there. And there was a time where hip-hop reflected that, right? You had Will Smith, who was the happy, fun-loving guy, right? You had De La Soul, who were like the hippie dudes, right? Then you had, You had NWA, you had Ghetto Boys, you know, those were the thugs, right? But all facets of black American male life were represented. And it wasn't until 1992, and this is where my conspiracy comes in, because it was 1992, after the Rodney King riots, right? Because those riots were a reflection of what rappers had been saying. You had Public Enemy, you had X-Clan, you had all of these conscious rappers, KRS-One, who had been warning America that something like that was going to happen. So when it happened, it was like, wow, these guys are prophets. And shortly after those riots, right, Dr. Dre's Chronic album came out. Right? And if you were there, you remember just how revolutionary that album was and how highly it was promoted. This was a brand new label, right? And the Chronic album just pretty much took over the genre of hip hop. And it was a good album as far as quality and all of that. It was Dr. Dre. I mean, what do you expect? But it was a Chronic album. It was about weed. And weed was something that only the Bad Boys did back, you know, when I was a kid. It was only the kids that like got fucked up grades, right? They're the only kids that smoked weed. Suddenly, the Chronic comes out and they make it cool. And then after that, hip hop has never recovered. It's never recovered. Everything is thug. Now, this is not to say that there aren't some conscious rappers out there. We just heard two of them. But I'm just saying that as far as the mainstream goes, the music that gets the most attention, that gets the most play, the most money behind it, it's all toxic. It's toxic. And it's been like this ever since. Right? Yeah, we'll get a Kendrick Lamar and a J. Cole that pop up every once in a while. But they don't outshine the number of, you know, toxic rappers that we get. And don't even get me started on the women rappers. Do not get me started on that. Because there's some great female rappers out there that are conscious too. Like Lauryn Hill was one of those. But she was outshined by Lil' Kim. Now, it's all about being Lil' Kim and just in a different incarnation. I don't care what anybody says, Wet Ass Pussy, that's the name of the song, in case you never heard of it, is a terrible song. It's a terrible song. And not only is it a terrible song, it's a terrible message. Right? And we can say, and listen, I know this sounds hypocritical coming from a guy who just got through talking about freedom of speech and having a freedom of speech platform. Yes, you should be able to express yourself however you like. But that does not mean that you should be absolved of the consequences of your influence. As an artist, as a creator, you are responsible for the influence you put out on the world, right? It's easy to know that kids are out here mimicking or trying to mimic what you're talking about in your song. And then when something, you know, happens, you can just say, well, hey, I just made the song, man. What's up with the parents? Which is a good point. But you know damn well that parents cannot keep their kids from getting access to stuff. Not in the world today where everybody's got phones. Even if they go to school, and you can take their phones from them. You can put parental controls on everything. One of their friends is going to have full access to whatever exists in life that's on the internet. Right? So the least you could do is be a little bit more responsible with the influence that you're putting out there. We're not in the 1980s anymore where there was a part of the record stores and part of the movie video section where kids couldn't go. Right? There's easy access to everything. So why not be a little bit more responsible? 200 rappers died, murdered in 2020. And at that same time, while all this was murdering was happening, people were marching about police. And they wanted to defund the police. Defund the police. You stupid motherfuckers. Yeah. that was a dumb movement. You guys got to admit that. Even you guys that you know that were kind of rocking with that at the time. Now, in retrospect, you got to admit that was a stupid ass. And I'm not saying that there does not need to be reform. There does. There needs to be police reform. And I think every American, right or left, old, young, white or black, I think everyone agrees that there needs to be some kind of reform. Okay, but defunding and just straight getting rid of it is absolutely idiotic. That's just stupid. Right? And what was killing me about that whole defund the police thing and get the police out of the neighborhoods is there was a lot of celebrities that were coming out. Yeah, we need to defund the police. That's easy for you to say, Mr. Private Security, living in a gated community that nobody can get to. But the people who live down here, shit. You know, I listen, I stay away from police. That's all there is to it. I don't talk. I'll say hi to a cop at the donut shop or some shit, but I'm not, you know, engaging, not while they're on duty. Now, when they're off duty, they're regular people. I have no problem being a friend or talking to someone, but, you know, a cop's job is to get a conviction. So I don't talk to police, especially when they're on duty, right? So therefore, I don't do things that draw the police to me. It's very silly when you live in a neighborhood where you know your nephews, your nieces, your kids, your little homies are out there doing stupid shit that draws the police to you, and then complain about over-policing in your neighborhood. That is absolutely idiotic. And it's not even a race thing. That's just stupid. That's just dumb, you know? But I agree with you, and I think everybody agrees with you that there needs to be some kind of reform, you know? Police need to be held to a higher standard. They do. I think when a police person is caught doing a crime, I think they should get double the time that a civilian would get because of their position, right? That would be a great deterrent from them doing stupid shit, right? But that's just me, you know, and 200 rappers died and nobody said anything about it. Nobody, and I'm assuming that 99% of those were black people, but nobody cares, you know. So anyway, I'm in Las Vegas, so I got every show I'm gonna give you guys a Las Vegas tip or two, and my man Isaac Weishaupt is coming out here later on this month, so we're gonna kick it. But I just want to tell you guys some stuff. If you've never been here, or if you have been here before, maybe you can relate. Now, first of all, understand this. If you come here in the summer, be prepared to die. You're going to die. That's just it. You're going to die if you come here in the summer. It's 100. We just got 117. That was a record 3 days ago. 117. That means that I could have went outside and cooked my food in my backyard with no fire and no help other than the sun. And it's dry heat. It's dry heat. We don't get a lot of humidity here because we're in the middle of the desert. And sometimes I wonder, what idiot, before, way back in the day, before there was centralized air conditioning and all that shit, said, this looks like a great place to set up an oasis? An idiot. Like, Las Vegas would be a beautiful city with the climate like, I don't know, say, San Diego. You ever been to San Diego? There's a beautiful climate there, right? If you put Vegas there, it would be awesome, but they put it here in the middle of Death Valley, literally. And here it is. So I'm going to give you guys some tips when you get here, okay? First things first, stay on the strip, okay? Stay on the strip. When you go out there, stay on the strip. The strip is safe. It's relatively safe. But if you go a block over here or a block over there off the strip, you're going to get robbed. That's all there is to it. Every neighborhood that sits outside the strip is fucked up. It's just true. If you don't believe me, go ahead. You know how many times I'm like, driving down by the strip and I'll see like Asian tourists. They got their cameras on their necks and they're walking down. I'm like, yo, get back on the strip. What are you doing? You about to get robbed. Right? Yeah, so stay on the strip. Okay, now there's two sides of the strip. Okay? You got the south side and the north side of the strip. And where the split is at Stratosphere. Stratosphere is the tall tower, right? Big ass tall tower. That's where it splits. Okay? Now south of that is where you have your Mandalay Bays and your Venetians and all that, you know, the big resorts. North of that, you start getting into downtown. Now, although they've done some great work of cleaning up downtown, they got the Fremont Street experience and all that stuff. That's all cool. But getting there from the stratosphere, you have to walk through some seedy-ass crack cocaine shit to get there. And I'm only telling you this because the people, you know, tourists that come here, they just think that the Strip is just a safe place to be. It's not. Not in between Sahara and Charleston. Okay, just remember those two streets. The Las Vegas Strip between Sahara and Charleston is not safe. Do not go down there. Okay, just get in an Uber, get in a cab, get in a helicopter, whatever you got to do. Don't try to walk it, because a lot of people say, I'm going to walk the entire Strip. Dork. You're going to get robbed. All right, here goes another tip. People here are not as nice as they seem. Okay, we're just pretending. We're only nice because we rely on tips. Okay, everybody in Vegas is an amalgamation of everyone from somewhere else. Everybody here moves from somewhere else and they come here. So they're the same jerks and assholes that they were back home. It's just here they have to put on a face, right? They got to smile for you because they want your tips, right? And if you're somebody who does not believe in tipping, don't come here. Do not come here. We don't like you. Like, I do not like people who don't tip. Not just in Vegas, just in general. If you are having someone do something for you that you could otherwise do for yourself, right? In the service industry, and you're one of these people, what am I going to tip for? Mr. Pink, was that his name in Reservoir Dogs? If you're on that type of shit, I don't like you. Like, if we go out to dinner together and then you don't tip the waitress or whatever, I will never go out with you again. I will never kick it, because that says something about your character. You know, but don't come here at all, because a lot of people come to Las Vegas and they get frustrated with the amount of tipping that they have to do. And you don't have to, you know, but they get frustrated at the amount of tipping that's expected of them. That's why you need to stay where you're at and just don't come here. Right? You need a lot of money to be in Vegas, right? To visit the tourist traps, right? But you don't have to, but if you want good service, then you should. You know, because people who work in the service industry don't make that much money. They don't. You know, they rely on your tips. Okay, now this is for my strip club people, right? And not just guys. Girls go to strip clubs and shit, you know. So I'm just going to tell you all this. First things first, fellas, mainly fellas. Do not take your credit card with you into the strip club. Just do not do it. Just go in there with cash. Go get some cash, and whatever you have in cash, that's all you can spend. Right? Because I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. You're going to go in there with your credit card, and you're going to meet some girl, and she's going to make you think that she really likes you, because the girls are really good at that shit. And she's really hot. And you're going to go to the VIP, and then you're going to sit in there for an hour or two. And at the end of it, she'll be, okay, that'll be $3,000. You'll be like, $3,000? I ain't got $3,000. And then she's going to call her homeboys, the big-ass bouncers. And they're going to come over there and say, hey, man, why you trying to steal from the lady? And they be like, I'm not trying to steal. I had no idea. I had no idea. I thought I was just coming down here. I thought I met a new girl that really liked me. And they're going to shake you down and be like, oh, how much money you got? And they're going to take your credit card and they're going to run that shit. So don't take your credit card. If you only have $200 in your pocket, I don't give a shit what they try to get out of you. That's all they can get is your $200. Right? So that's a little tip for you. Just don't do it. Now, this goes for... And this ain't just in Vegas, right? And even that last thing I just said, that's strip clubs in general, right? Anywhere, you know. At least in Vegas, I will say this. The bouncers are not going to beat you up unless you try to fight them. They're not just going to take you out back and be there like that. That's old Vegas. That's like old, you know, casino movie Vegas. They don't do that no more. They'll just kick you out and tell you never to come back. In most cases. Now, I'm not saying there might not be some knucklehead bouncers out there, but for the most part, they don't want problems, they don't want troubles, they don't want lawsuits. They just kick you out and just tell you never to come back and 86 you. Now, here goes another thing. Okay, and this is not just Vegas strip clubs. This is strip clubs in general. But when you come to Vegas, just don't go to VIP. Do not go to VIP at all unless you understand 100% what you're going to spend. You have to get that clear, not only with the girl. You got to get it clear with the VIP host, the bouncer, and say, listen, I'm only spending $200 in here. That's it, right? Because if you just go up there blindly, which a lot of guys do, They turn around, it's $2,500, $4,000. I've seen this. I've worked in the strip club for years. That's why I know all this stuff. Yeah, just to, like don't trust the girl, because the girl's a hustler. That's what she does. Her job is to lie to men and make them think that they have a chance. She'll come up to you and say, "Wow, you look just like my ex-boyfriend." So now your dumb ass say, "Ooh, I must be her type." And then now you sitting over there, you know damn well this girl's too cute to be with you, but you go up there, and next thing you know, you owe $5,000. I'm just letting you know, okay? Now here's the most important piece of Las Vegas knowledge that I'm gonna bestow upon you, okay? And this goes for any tourist town, Miami. This goes for New York, wherever you go. But I'm only speaking on behalf of Vegas. When you're with a large group of people and you go into a bar, any bar, not just strip clubs, but especially strip clubs, right? Never hand over your credit card or debit card to open a tab. Don't do that, right? If you have, I'd say, 5 or more people, don't do that, because I'm going to tell you what happens, right? You guys all get up there, and then you give them the card, okay? And then they're running a tab. So everybody wants different drinks. This guy wants a Coors Light. This guy wants, some kind of fruity drink. This guy wants a Malibu and pineapple. Everybody's ordering a bunch of different stuff. Now, you guys are powwowing. The girls are distracting you. You guys are, having fun. And nobody is paying attention to who's ordering what, right? So the waitress is free at that point to put drinks on your tab and give it to her friends or other people. She might have some friends at the bar and say, "Oh, I'll get a round on me," and they'll just take it off your card, because when they bring you the bill, you don't know who ordered what. There's like 10 extra drinks on there, and you don't even know, right? So don't do that unless you just have a corporate black Amex that you don't care about. Don't do that. Okay, so those are my Vegas tips. I'm gonna have Vegas tips for you every time that you come here, and I'll hook you guys up. Okay, I lost my notes here. Here we go. All right. Okay, here we go. This is what I want to talk about right here. I was watching something on YouTube, and Hillary came up on there. And listen, I know it might sound like I hate Democrats. I hate Republicans just the same. Just so you guys know, okay, I'm what they call a political atheist. I don't get down with either side when it comes to this. I'm a little bit conservative and I'm a little bit liberal, enough to the point where I'm centrist. I think that both sides go too far, and they're both idiotic. I was talking to a family member who's a religious Democrat. It's like a religion to this family member. And I'm convinced that if a Republican candidate was running for office on everything that this family member wanted, they wouldn't vote for him or her just because they were Republican. It's like gang shit. It's like Bloods and Crips. It's like you stay faithful to a party even when it's not in your best interest. So I choose not to choose a side there, right? So I was watching this thing, and I saw Hillary talking, and she said, "It takes a village to raise a child." Like, what? And I hear people say that all the time, and that's so stupid. It takes a village to raise a child. Now, as a father of 3, it does not take a village to raise a child. That's bullshit. It only takes 2 responsible adults to raise a child. And in some cases, only 1 responsible adult can raise a child. You know what you get when you allow the village to raise your child? Gangbangers. You get gangbangers, teenage pregnancy, and all kinds of other fuckery. Take care of your own children. Stop handing your children over to the village, because you can't trust the village, right? The village will have you believing that boys can be girls and men. And yes, I'm going there because, like, whatever happened to regular gay people? I miss you guys. I miss just regular gay. Now there's all this other stuff, these subgroups. I'm non-binary, trans. I'm not doing all that with you, okay? Now, I'm not a phobic, okay? If I see a dude with a full beard and he's got nail polish on and he says, "I'd like you to call me Susie," guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to call him Susie because he personally asked me to do that. I don't care, right? But what I'm not going to do is assume that this is a guy and say, hey, how you doing, sir? And then this motherfucker blows up on me and it says I'm committing violence against him, right? Because there's some law that says misgendering someone is violence. I'm like, that's stupid. I'm not doing that. You know what I'm saying? So that's what's happening to your kids right now. Your kids are being indoctrinated into madness, mostly from the left right now. I have to say, the left is going buck wild with your kids. They got like transgender reading time for like little kids, which is bullshit. I don't want my kids, my little kids, learning about sexuality in any way, and this includes heterosexuality. They don't need to know any of that. You don't need to push this on children, right? I am pro-choice. I am pro-choice in everything because I don't care, right? And I teach my kids not to care. Let live and let live, right? I'm only pro-life when it comes to my children. I don't give a shit what you do with your kids. If you want to yank it out, amen. Because I'll be honest with you, I don't think enough of y'all are pro-life. Judging by the way a lot of these kids are acting, I'm like, yo, that should have been a pro-choice right there, right? But I listen, I'm pro-choice. I'm only pro-life when it comes to my kids. I'm pro-choice. And whatever you want to do, you want to get the vaccination, go ahead and do that. You want to be a girl, go ahead and do that. I don't care. Just don't include me if I don't want to be included. If I want to be, I'll let you know. Hey, I want to participate in that, right? And I think we should all have this respect. I think the country the world will be a better place if people live and let live and just stop caring. I don't care. I only care when you try to make me care. And young people, listen, there's a book called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. That's what it's called, by Mark Manson. Read that book. You do not have to care about everything. You don't have to care about everything. I don't care how much they try to make you passionate about something. If it doesn't interest you, you don't have to do that, right? And I'm speaking because of The Village. This is what The Village is doing to kids. Right? You don't have to, like for me, I don't care about SEALs. I just don't. It's not that I hate SEALs and I want SEALs to die, but I remember as a kid, they were trying to force me to care about these little cute white SEALs. They had posters, little cute white SEALs, and then they would show guys go and hit them in the head for their fur. And it was sad, but at the end of the day, I was like, I don't give a shit. I don't deal with SEALs, right? That was just a cause that I didn't care about. Now, there were other causes that I did care about. And then I chose, as I should have the choice, to get involved with that, you know? So, yeah, it does not take a village to raise a child. That is absolutely idiotic. It takes two people. Don't let the village raise your child unless you want your child to shoot somebody, right? We need to take it, you know, we need to start taking responsibility for our kids. I see kids doing terrible shit all the time on the internet. They're killing people. They're doing all this shit. And then the parents, no consequences, right? I think if your child is underage and living with you, there should be some kind, I'm not saying you should get locked under the jail or you should get the electric chair, but I'm just saying there should be some consequences for the parents, right? My son got into some stuff when he was in junior high. He decided that he wanted to, him and his friends decided they were going to start a gang in our neighborhood, which totally did not require a gang. And so they had knives. They had little knives, and then they were tagging the school down the street. I had no idea this was going on, which was my bad. So the cops called me. They say, we got your son down here. He's drawing on the school. He's got a knife. I said, what? So I went down there and snatched him up. And you know what I did? I took full responsibility for the actions of my child, who at that time was 12 or 13. That's my kid, right? He did that on my watch. So I paid all the fines. I went to all the stuff with him, all the classes with him. I did all that. I suffered with him. And he suffered more because he didn't go nowhere for that entire summer. But I'm just saying, let's take responsibility for our kids. Stop trusting the village with your kids. It's bad enough that you trust schools with your kids. I'm going to be honest with you. It's bad enough that there's a law that says that we have to send our kids to that school. I think homeschooling should be the norm for all of us. I would have loved that, you know, but it does not take a village to raise a child. All right. So again, people, this is Aftermath.fm. We are here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There's always something interesting. Check the schedule out and see what's on here. Coming up, we have our man, Billy Ray Valentine. Billy Ray is the big bad Bronx believer. He's from the Bronx. So this is the way he talks. He's like, hey, what's going on? My name is Billy Ray. Billy Ray Valentine. Check him out. That's my man. He's coming up next, right after me. After him, you got Clyde Lewis. Okay, Clyde Lewis is there's a hashtag that says Clyde was right, because Clyde predicts shit. Like, you know, he just looks at where stuff's going. He's like, I'm Clyde Lewis, and this is ground zero. And then he goes on to tell you some shit that's gonna happen, and then it usually happens. So he's not a psychic, but you know, he kind of does that. Then we got Jimmy G. Jimmy G comes on late nights, and his show is crazy. Like, you never know what you get. His show is like a swap meet of entertainment. You never know what the next booth is gonna have. My name's Jimmy. That's Jimmy G. In the mornings we got David Knight. We got my man Kristan T. Harris with the Rundown Live. On Saturday we got the WTF is Wrong with People. On Sunday we got Steve Poikonen. Jimmy G has another show called the Sunday Morning Wake and Bake, which is all about music. So there's always something going on Aftermath.fm. There's an app that you can download. And if you want more, you want access to the thousands of hours of listening, the podcast from the hosts like myself and other people, then go to Aftermath.media and take advantage of the deal that we have going on right now. It is only $79 for the year. That's full year of access to video archives, study groups, and all of the podcasts. If there's a certain show that you want to hear and you missed it, you can go back there and get access to it on demand any time. Also, most of the podcasts here, the names that you see here, are also available on whatever podcasting streaming, not streaming, but a podcasting distribution, Spotify, Apple Music, iHeartRadio, all of that. You can find Haterati there, as a matter of fact. New episode tomorrow, as a matter of fact.